Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB Bikini Pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Today's guest is a project manager by day based in Powder Springs, Georgia, and a proud dog mom. Born and raised in Greenwood, South Carolina, she started competing back in 2017 and competed in 13 amateur shows before earning her IFBB Pro card in 2023 at North Americans in the Masters 40 plus category. Since turning pro, she's competed in 2 pro shows and continues to bring her best in both open and masters classes. Beyond the stage, she previously ran her own personal training business and carries that experience with her, with the door always open for a possible return. Welcome to the show, Cicily Phillips. How are you doing?
Thank you, Celeste. I appreciate it. I'm doing great.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you're here and that you're doing so well. I'm excited to learn more about you. I mean, I actually forgot that you were in Masters when you joined. I was like, hold on.
That a lot.
'Cause,
I get that a
yeah,
lot.
I mean, obviously, even in your photos, you look so young, but then seeing you on video too, I'm like, what?
Yep, I love.
Amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, seriously. Well, before we get into everything, I've got to ask, is there anything you do, think about, or maybe a ritual you have right before your heel hits the stage?
Yeah, so recently and especially for my last couple of shows, I had created a playlist of just like some songs that motivate me, just that get me hype really. So I might start listening to that during my peak week or during show day or leading up to show day, listen to those songs. And also when I get ready to step on stage, of course, say a little prayer, ask God to give me courage and remove any nerves, and just pray for the judges to see my physique as good as I see it. So yeah, just
Mhm.
motivational things to help me with my nerves.
Love that. Yeah, kind of getting yourself grounded in confidence and what you know you're bringing to the table. And you've mentioned how much your faith in God really is the number one reason you're able to do what you're doing in bodybuilding. So I'd love for you to share how your faith has maybe guided you through the highs and lows of this journey and how it's been influential.
Yeah, of course. So definitely, like you said, my faith in God is very important to me. And um just knowing that God has me covered, He has a plan for me. So I know that, even if everybody wants to win, at least I think everybody wants to win. And knowing that maybe I don't win, every time I step on stage, that, God put these desires in my heart. So therefore, one day it will happen for me. It's just in His timing. So,
Yeah. Is that what kind of got you through those 13 shows as
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Because there was a lot of highs and lows. Sometimes I did really good. Sometimes I didn't do as good. But I knew just staying the course and keeping faith that eventually I would get to where I wanted to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, having done 15 shows total, what's been the biggest transformation for you mentally, even physically too? You could speak to that between your early shows compared to now as a pro.
Yeah, I would say mentally more wisdom. Just in the beginning, you're like looking to your coach or whoever that you're following. Maybe you follow people online to go through your prep, but just somebody to tell you what to do, and you may not know anything. So it's kind of like blindly following somebody because you don't know, this is all new to you. So that's how it was for me in the beginning. And now like I said, wisdom, because I know kind of questions to ask, and just understanding my physique more, and just understanding the whole process, maybe why judges are judging us a certain way while they have us doing certain things, walking to the back, switching us around. In the beginning, that meant nothing to me. I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we doing? So now just knowing that it's so many pieces to the puzzle and asking questions and just always learning because I'm still learning. So
Oh, for sure. And I think our approach has to evolve with us, whether that's mentally or physically. Our approach is constantly evolving. And I look back at like early days of competing
yeah.
for me, and I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I think that was right? Like, and now I know better. And
Mm.
it's so much that I wish I had known early on. So how has your approach evolved personally when it comes to like preps and improvement seasons?
Um, prep and improvement season. Good question. I'm a competitive person, so I've always and once I get into prep, I'm like heads down, I'm gonna complete it. I've never like got into prep and not saying it's anything against that, but everybody has to work through whatever they have to work through. But I've always been like, I can't, I gotta finish this, I gotta complete this task. So prep is I can stay to that, but the improvement season has not it's been a struggle for me, and that's every prep. So normally I start out good and then after a while I may start adding in other things and just not being able to stick to the plan. Like during the week I would be pretty good about sticking to my reverse, but on the weekends I'll probably start going off the rails. But I will say that this time I was determined. Like I talked to myself early on in my prep, like, look, when it's you in that last show, we're gonna try the hardest to stick to this reverse. And I even like wrote that down in like my journal, my devotional that I do. Like I'm sticking to the prep. Uh God lead me and guide me. And that's one of my prayers and one of the goals that I want to accomplish. And it's been a month since my show and I've been sticking to it. So this is what
Awesome.
I do normally.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a big deal. And I appreciate you being so open about that because I think a lot of times people see any athlete, but especially pros, and they're like, oh, they don't struggle. They don't go through this. And I'm like, yes, they do. They're still competitors who experience a lot of the same challenges. And I think when it comes to competing in general, it's important that we have balance and we aren't restricting ourselves. And that's something you've talked about. So, although maybe you've struggled in improvement season, you've also done a great job of eventually coming to a place where you've established some balance. So, how do you think that's actually been beneficial in your longevity in the sport?
Yeah, as far as balance goes, I do believe that there should be balance anyway, even if you're not even competing, just in lifestyle, people who are just, trying to better themselves in their lifestyle. So a lot of the times, and especially like friends and family that want to get advice, they think that you have to be on some kind of strict diet where you have to only eat salads and drink water, and it's just very restrictive, and they think that that's how you achieve the goal. So they're looking at me like, oh, you did this, you did well, mine is a lot restrictive because I'm doing prep. So you can't look at that. And I try to help them understand that, in my um off season, while I tend to not stick to a prep in the past, I still have balance. I'm just not out there eating, fast food and junk food every single day. I still have balance. So just trying to help people understand that there is a balance and you don't have to have such a restrictive diet to reach your goals.
Oh yeah, like sometimes balance can just be putting sauce on your meal that's different than yesterday's sauce, and like that can go such a long way. Or a lot of times I feel like people associate balance with this almost like this unhealthy standard. So maybe they associate it with the things like fast food or with the things like junk and things that don't make you feel good or trashing your body. And it's like that's not really what's the point of balance as much as it is like a mentality and a nourishment. Like I personally like macros are great to me because if I want to have zucchini one day and broccoli the next, I can make that work. It's not, oh, I can have, sometimes it is, I can have this chocolate and that chocolate or these chips versus that popcorn. Like, of course, but it puts all the food on the same playing field, and then I feel like it lets you nourish your body accordingly.
Exactly, and my I was talking to my mom, a few weeks ago, and she was like, "Oh, I want this ice cream, but I shouldn't have that." And I'm like, "Do you eat ice cream every day?" No. Okay, then why is it why is
Yeah,
it for you to have ice cream? So people have to just understand, like, you don't have to just cut out all of the foods that may be considered junk food. I mean, if you're not sitting up there eating it like every day with every meal, then here and there is fine, and you can work that into your, plan.
absolutely. And like you said too, post show can be really difficult for a lot of people, and like really trying to understand what your standards and expectations are for yourself. It can, at least what I've experienced, and I help so many competitors with this, like I hear this all the time of like they compare to what they see other people doing.
Mhm.
And I know that's true even outside of competing, but when it comes to, like, say, identity in the sport, did you feel a shift when you became a pro? Like, did that put more pressure on you? Did it change anything?
Um, I would say probably a little bit of pressure because now you're like, okay, I was an amateur before, now I'm a pro. So if we'll talk about how I have had a hard time sticking to reverse. So if I'm over here not sticking to a reverse and going off the rails, and then I'm looking physique wise, I'm looking not, and it probably looks good to everybody, but if I look at myself, I'm like, I don't look like a bodybuilder. I've always had that thought in my head. So going from amateur to pro, I'm like, you gotta look like a bodybuilder like all the time, which is not a good mentality to have, but
Right.
just, we're human, so we think that way.
Exactly. Well, and unfortunately, a lot of the times there's this preconceived standard or image set on various identities we might have. This
Mhm.
is true no matter what identity. It could be a job you work in, it could be a role that you have in your home, in your family, in a friendship. Like it can come with these images that flash through our head. And in competing, like with social media, you see a lot more of the competition, actively competing side, the lean, the photo shoots, the super fit. And it's only like really, I think, when you either if you follow people who share, but or if you go to an event, like a workshop, a seminar, you're like, oh, they look like this. Like it's they're not just their stage shots and their gym selfies. Like that can be so relieving and refreshing because whether you're an amateur or a pro, you're probably always going to be like, I don't look like a bodybuilder unless it's you literally getting on stage because that is when you're like a competitor, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's so true.
Yeah. And then you have to like navigate how your body changes consistently in this sport. Like, we're never just here. It's either like we're pushing for growth or we're pushing to cut.
It's such a mental struggle to deal with.
Mhm. Yeah, but you, I mean, even in looking at photos, I'm surprised to hear you say, you've always struggled with this idea that you look like a bodybuilder because I looked at your first competition photos and I was like, she was so freaking fit then too. And then you only continued to improve. So I am dying to know what even got you into fitness and then what inspired you to take that step further into competing.
Yeah, so what was it? I guess back in 2016, because I did my first show in 2017. I was I don't even know when Instagram started, but I feel like I was new to Instagram, and I started following, like, fitness influencers and some bodybuilders, and I just remember this one um fitness influencer that I followed. I think her name was Lana Ecter. Anyway, she was really big into it, and even her mom. It was so crazy because her mom was big into it too, and I think she was like in her 50s. But she had this motto of squats, no shots. And this was around the time where getting butt shots was very popular. So
Yeah.
we always want to have nice looking glutes. And I was like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna have a nice glutes without having to go and get shots, butt shots. So I really took hold to that and did all of her workout plans. Back then DVDs were still popular,
That's amazing.
showing my age now, but so I got the DVDs, I was following the nutrition plan and everything to a T. And then later on, after I had done that for a while, I decided to get a local trainer. So I did that. And then another one of my friends took me or invited me to a bodybuilding show. And I went there and I saw bikini girls and I fell in love with it from
What?
there. And I was like, "I'm gonna get on stage." And so that's how it started, and then, yeah, it was history from there.
That's so cool. I love that it just took you seeing it at a show to be like,
Mhm.
yep, I'm down to do that and I'm ready to commit to it. So, your first prep is always, I think, like you said earlier, there's a learning curve. There's things that you just, I'm following the plan, I'm doing this. But if you were to compare like your 2017 prep to your most recent prep experience, like what are some of the key differences and maybe those things that you're like, I wish I would have known this then?
Yeah, so I would say, when you're doing that first prep, people, your coach, whoever you're working with, or even if you're following people on Instagram, they can give you all of the play by play for peak week, play by play for show day. It's gonna be like this, that, and you can see, or you can even see other people go through it. But until you're actually doing it yourself, it's you'll never know that experience until you actually do it yourself. So the difference in between the first prep, just not knowing and not really having any idea what it would be like, and to the most current prep is, I have a knowledge of how the show day is going to go. I know how to prep and plan. I know what I want to bring in my bag. I know what snacks and sweets I don't need to bring because I'm going to overdo it. It's just those little things that you've learned because you've been to a show, you've been in a show and now you've accomplished several different shows and you know what bothered you or what didn't or what worked for you and what didn't work for you. So that's the big difference, I think.
100%. I love that so much, especially the point about like post-show treats, because I remember bringing like a whole mini suitcase of
Same.
treats. Yeah, like that I had been basically hoarding for an
Yep.
entire prep. And now I'm like, oh my God, red flags. Like I would never, ever, ever. I only did it that one time and it was so terrible that I have never done it again. Like now I just don't care hardly at all about food post show. It's actually almost annoying because I'm like, I know I need to eat, but it's late and I don't care anymore. I'm just hungry. But anyway, yeah, the
Uh,
what was that?
I was gonna say, unlike you, I continued bringing treats and not
Yeah.
until recently, probably the year I went pro, which was in 2023, and then this year competing, like, I just didn't bring anything, like, I had a few things to, like, um candy to eat right before I get on stage just for the sugar, but other than that, like, I would have, like, Reese's Cups or any little something chocolate with peanut butter because that's my favorite in my bag so that I could eat it after. I didn't bring any of that, and then it
Wow.
was kinda funny because I was like, "Dang, I don't have nothing to even," and
I
then
know.
I wanted, and guess what I wanted though? A rice cake with peanut butter on it.
Hmm. Oh, that's always good.
Oh, yeah, so that's a big difference.
Yeah, that is a big difference. And I think a lot of times there's the promotion of, oh, like you can't have this, so save it, save it, save it. But ultimately, when we do that, we're almost like proactive, we're like preemptively preparing to be craving something. When then we see it, we're gonna want it instead of just going, if I get, let's say, post show and I'm suddenly craving like chocolate cake. Okay, then I'll get it when I'm there. Like I don't have to set aside this piece of chocolate cake from this party I went to and didn't get to have it and I freeze it. Like I did that and I'm like, what?
I've done it.
Right? Like I had like a whole shelf in my bedroom when I was prepping, like for the first probably 2 years of no 3 years of competing, a whole bottom shelf where I would just like store things. Like I'd go downstairs in the pantry. My mom would have gotten something. And I'm like, oh, and I'd put it and I just keep it. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, like I feel so bad for my body post show, like how that felt.
Yeah, and then for me, I would, just keep on eating it every single day, eating off
Mhm.
of whatever it was, so now, I know we talked about saving stuff in the freezer beforehand, well, now I'll just if I have something that I like, then I'll eat it like that one day, and then I'll put it in the freezer, out of sight, out of mind, and then when I think about it again, I'm like, "Oh, well, let me go and have, like, 1 serving of whatever that was." So that
That's good.
that has helped.
That's big progress. And plus, then you've got to like defrost it again. So
Yeah.
you realize, like, do I really want it? Like, am I willing to wait? Because I've got
Yeah,
to
I'll
defrost
keep
it.
in the freezer now, and 'cause I forget about it. I'm like, "Well, I guess I don't really need it."
Exactly. Yeah, that's such a huge deal, like to go from being fixated on it to not stressing it. So good for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, when you won your pro card, what did that mean to you? Because you had been going after it for a while. So what did it actually mean to you in that moment?
The funny thing is, while, I you want to win, obviously, and get your pro card, and that was the goal, but when I got it, I was like, "Okay, what do I do now?" It's almost like I it's almost like not even expecting to win because I didn't have any uh thoughts ahead of time like okay when I win this and that I want to do this I want to do that like I had thought I didn't think of any of that so
Hmm.
um really it was just a lot of I was just overcome with a lot of joy and happiness and I was just excited and um anytime I was talking to anybody like right after it or if I would call my friends to let them know what happened I'd be like and new
Oh, I love that.
got sick of me, but yeah, it was so pure that like, cause I didn't think about what is it gonna be like to actually win. I was just so focused on doing everything, leading up to that day that I didn't think about, "Okay, you might actually win."
Wow. You have shared that God had revealed things to you leading into that show. Can you talk to us about some of those stories or moments?
Yeah, and this is what I'm about to say is probably for everybody, but I mean, we're nervous when we get on that stage. You got to stand up in front of all of those people and the judges and be judged on your physique. So I'm always nervous, and most of the time, well, I won't say most of the time, but some of the time, you're like shaking and just very nervous. Well, on this day, when I stepped on stage, like all of the nerves left my body and like it was just like I was on stage performing and
Mhm.
like when you're practicing by yourself at home and you obviously don't have nerves then because nobody's looking at you.
Yeah.
So it felt like that. And also another thing that happened, like when I came off stage, like one of the other competitors, she just made a point to come to me and tell me how good she thought I was. And, she was like, "You're going to win. Your physique looks so good." And she was just praising me. And it just caught me off guard because I'm like, wow, that was so, genuine and nice of her to do that. And that actually boosted me up a little bit more too. And just when I went back and thought about it, I'm like, oh, look at all these things that happened to me just leading up to it. And then that was God. It might seem like it's small, but it I've learned to recognize that God will show himself in your life in small ways and in big ways. So I, cherish even the small things that happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, it sounds like it was such a amazing experience, one that just like maybe a culmination of all those years of hard work and like to truly step up there, feel like you were performing without this nervous energy that maybe would have been there before, and then have all this support backstage too. That's really special. And then to walk off that stage of pro, even though you're like well, now what do I do? You were a pro, and you've obviously competed in both masters and open consistently. So why do you compete in both, and how do you view competing in both divisions?
I love competing in masters because like you said when we first got on, people can't believe I'm over 40.
Yeah.
So I really get a kick out of that. And one judge in particular, when I went to go get feedback, was like, You're in masters? No. I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay, yeah, you're in masters. But, I mean, masters is competitive. People might think,
Oh,
just because we are older that it's competitive. Like, I'm not just gonna get up there and just walk away with a win. No. It's very competitive, almost on the I know it doesn't get as much coverage as open, but I think it's very competitive and I enjoy competing in it. And I still do open. I mean, I still have a goal of trying to um be competitive and open and move up the ranks and open, but I feel like I can compete against people my age too and try to win.
oh, for sure. Well, you're incredible in both, and I think it's amazing that Masters is as competitive as it is because it went from, I think, being an overlooked division or yeah, division, whatever you want to call it, age division. Yeah. And that was unfortunate because the amount of challenge the Masters posed to us young people or younger people in the open divisions. It's like you see a Masters competitor coming into your open class, you're like, oh shit, like that woman's got it going on because a lot of the times there's like more density, there's a bit more like there's just more maturity to the muscle. And then what I think is great about masters is it gives people an option to do exactly what you said, like compete in both, see how you do in both, and step on stage multiple times. So now this might be controversial, but I've heard some masters say that they don't love that they have to pay to compete in most masters pro shows. Like I
Yeah,
still think that's messed up.
I know it is.
Yeah. And then another thing I've heard is that and you don't have to speak to this if you don't feel comfortable, but some masters competitors that I know have said that when they step on stage prior to competing in open, they feel like they get overlooked um, in the open category or in the open division when they do step on stage after a masters. So have you ever seen this or experienced this yourself?
I can definitely relate. Like, I'll say first that I've heard people, judges, say that everybody is gets looked at. Nobody is overlooked. We judge every single person, down to the last place. So don't ever think that you just because you're doing masters, you're not overlooked. It's said, but when you are in the show and you're doing it, you can't help but think that, maybe the masters are overlooked because if you're placing in top 3 in masters, maybe 40 or even 35, and then you go over and open and you're like in the 16s, you're like, did they really look like how am I that good in that category in the masters category, but yet I'm so terrible in the open. So I do think about that. I mean, I don't guess maybe we can prove it, but I don't know if we can or not. But it is something that I think about. And while I do both, I've thought about just going into an open show only and just to see how I line up against everybody. I mean, every show is different, obviously, because it's going to be different competitors, but just to see if I see any difference or feel any difference about if I'm overlooked or not just because I'm doing masters. So I've thought about it, but yeah, I think it's I don't know. I mean, how will we ever know that? I mean, they're saying we're not overlooked, but it is.
Well, I will speak to my personal experience, even, and I've never done masters, but as an open competitor, and I'm not competing ever again, probably. So I'm just gonna say what I've experienced and put it out there. But at a recent show I did, the Pittsburgh show, I swear, like so many of us walked off that stage feeling like we weren't even looked at.
Mm.
It was really unfortunate. Like you're almost like I was like, how did they judge and choose who won when I felt like none of them were paying attention? I mean, like
I know.
it was a bit sad. Like so I've been at shows where I've stepped on stage and I mean I shouldn't probably name all the show names that I've done where this has happened, but that one did stand out to me as like disappointing.
Mm.
I felt like only maybe like one or two of the judges really cared, but I've done shows where like you walk on stage and like the judges are talking to each other, they're yawning, they're looking at their phone, they're not. And I'm like, so did you just look at us in comparisons and then make your decision? Like so there have been times where I've personally felt overlooked, and then I've asked the other girls backstage, I'm like, okay, was it just me? Like, am I that bad? Like, they don't want to see me at all. And a lot of the women are like, did you, did you get looked at all? And like, a lot of the times it's like, no, like at that most recent show, a lot of people are just like, when did they even judge us? Like, it was very unfortunate to be honest.
Yeah, I think I've been at shows like that before too, where just like you said, like, okay, we're being looked at comparisons. Then when I get out there to do my routine, I'm thinking I'm finna, are gonna show you, some good stuff now because I practiced this a lot, so I want you to see it. And they're not looking. You're like, hello, I'm here.
Exactly. Yeah, and I wish more people talked about it. That's why I'm like asking and saying it because I'm like there it is disheartening to the competitor who goes on stage and they're like, is this normal? And it shouldn't be. And I've done more shows where it's not the norm than it is the norm. But
Yeah,
I will say like there have been some shows where I'm just like, okay, why? And it's hard as an athlete too, because when you're trying to put that performance on and they're the people you can see, you can't see the crowd that well because of the lights.
right.
That's who you see, and you're like smiling as big as you can. You're hitting your poses, and they're just like, you're like, hello, hello,
Looking at
I
each
want you to smile.
talking.
I'm like, okay, I'll speed this up for you. Like, it's okay.
Exactly. You just rush through it. I've done that before.
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I need to just own my time on stage, whether or not they pay attention. And um, yeah, that's one thing that I haven't enjoyed or I didn't appreciate about competing is the times when that happened because I'm like, we spend so much money and time and energy. All we want to do is get judged, get feedback, and get better.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you made your pro debut at the Charlotte Pro, which is really cool because you being a South Carolina native, the Charlotte Pro is like a lot of those Carolina pros, like and I'm in South Carolina. And so like I've loved attending that show. And then you competed at the Girl Power Pro. So um competing as a pro for the first time. I mean, that's so special and awesome. You get to know when you're stepping on stage, which is super cool too. So what was that experience like for you to go out there and get to do like a full pro routine and yeah, and present as a professional athlete?
Yeah, it was overall, I'll say it was a great experience. But I hate to say this, but I thought it was gonna be drastically different
Really?
living on stage as a pro than an amateur, especially I mean, even from everything from check-ins to the show to everything, but I feel like check-ins was the same for the pros as it was for amateurs, and, we got our number, we took a picture, and that was it, and that was my pro debut, experience, and then the only difference was being able to, like you said, know when you're going on stage, so I didn't have to wake up at the, break of dawn to get makeup and all of that stuff and, sit and wait. So that was nice, and then also finishing early because you go first for final, so that was all good. But stepping on stage, doing my routine, comparisons, being backstage, all of that was the same.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a very special moment for me. It was kind of womp womp. But when I will say this: when I did Girl Pro, it was a different experience, so I guess it depends on the show that you go to
What was
because
different?
we had a separate, check-ins, and we went in, sat down like, we were in a meeting. The promoter was talking, and I even got there late because I thought it was gonna be like Charlotte Pro, and I was like, "Dang, they already started." So anyway, they called us all by name and we got up and went and got our number and they took our picture, in front of everyone. And then we all got on stage and took a picture as all of the pros and they did masters photo too. And then just the day of the show, I mean, we all were together with amateurs. I mean, they had all the backstage was, everybody's backstage. And then just having champagne for us after the show at finals was another added thing that I just thought was, special. So just feeling special. And also another thing at check-ins, they called out all of the pro debuts. And so I was like, oh, I didn't get called out last last
Oh,
time.
cool that they did
So it
that.
was very, they made you feel special about being a pro and also those that were having their pro debut as well. So I liked that. So I want to say we can say that my pro debut overall was a good experience. But yeah, I guess it differs from show to show.
Yeah, that's understandable because I know some shows like the pros get like special gear and goodie bags, things like that. And then there's other shows where it's just very similar. So that's understandable. And then, being a professional athlete, I think that does deserve a level of difference.
Exactly.
So I think is good that you had such a positive experience at the Girl Power show. Um, Now, as far as like your energy, maybe even the competition, like, did you notice yourself looking around more? Did you feel super laser focused on what you were going to bring? Because now you're around people who probably you've looked up, not maybe looked up to is not the right word, but you've followed or you've seen in the pro leagues, like you wanted to compete against them. So, what was that like for you to share the stage with these women?
Yeah, it is kind of different because when you're an amateur, you don't know who's going to be there until you actually show up.
True.
But with a pro, you see the list and you're like, oh, okay, I know that person. Maybe I hadn't heard of that person. It also can be a bad thing because you might start going and looking up people to see what they look like. But yeah, S I'm naturally an introvert, so I'm not gonna be the one that's just chattering away at people, but sometimes I do come out of my shell and speak to people I may have been following, so that was definitely a different experience. Because as an amateur, I can't say that I knew a lot of people that I was competing with, so it's more so of meeting new people when you're an amateur, and then when you're a pro, you know a lot of the other people that you're competing against, so
That's a good point, especially because if you're going to like if you're doing a run of shows and the same pros are doing the same run of shows, like in the amateur league, obviously you see that too, because maybe you're all going to these same national
mhm,
shows and that can be fun. But like you said, if you see the athlete list for a pro show, you're like, oh yeah, I just did this show with her, or oh yeah, I've never met her, but now I'm gonna see her on Instagram, and maybe that's like its own mental game you have to manage.
yeah.
Um, Now I would love to talk about being a full-time project manager, like working for a company versus yourself. I want to get into that side of things. But before I do, what are your goals that you're looking forward to pursuing on stage and off stage?
Yeah, on stage. So since I do compete in the Masters division, I would like to go to Masters Olympia one day. I probably could have kept going this season and tried to make it this year, which would have been ideal, but I just already knew that I had a lot of other commitments this year. And also, with it being so close, I would rather have more time to plan out if I did make it. Because if I did make it, then I may only have like 2, 3 months or so to, I don't even know how far it is now, but to try to prepare to go, across the country to Japan. So anyway, that is still a goal of mine. Although it only comes every 2 years, that'll be like what 27 when it comes again. But I still have that goal to do that on stage. Um, Off stage, like you said, I'm a project manager, and I just recently, and it's a very prestigious certification in the project management world. Got my project management professional certification.
Congrats.
Thank you, thank you. Um, it was not easy. I was studying for it on prep.
Oh my goodness.
4-hour test that you have to take, and it was brutal.
Wow.
Yeah, I took the test the I had a full week after Girl Power, and then that following Monday, I took the test. So, yeah, that probably wasn't smart, but I did it and I passed it. So,
You did it. Congrats.
thank
That's a
you.
testament to your drive and dedication.
Yeah. So I plan on, focusing on my career a little bit more, trying to move up the ranks there. And also another thing that just recently happened, and this happened after we talked the first time. But I just got engaged, so I want to get
That's right. I know. I was like, oh, maybe that actually was like perfect timing when I rescheduled because then you posted that and I was like,
married. Yeah.
yeah, tell us about that, like your relationship and its evolution, and now
Yeah.
you're engaged. Like, did you see it coming?
Um, at my age, yes. But yeah, I mean, I don't share a lot about my relationship because first of all, I'm just not somebody that shares a lot because I'm naturally introverted, like I told you. But the I've been in this relationship since like 2020, and yeah, we that was the goal, and it has always been the goal to get married. So we've discussed it in depth, and it was just a matter of when he was going to do it. So I wasn't surprised in the fact of when it happened because he had all of my friends and family there for it. So I wasn't aware of any of that, but we that was our goal. So I knew it was gonna happen.
Aw, that's so special. How did you know that that was the person you wanted to spend forever with?
Um, he like the and this may sound a little, cliche, but I've never been in a relationship with anybody like him that has treated me the way he has with such care. Like I didn't even know that that's how you should be treated in a relationship based on all of my past relationships. So that was like the number one thing, and just like his compassion and care for even everyone else and not just me, just everyone. And so I knew that that was somebody that I wanted to spend my life with.
Peace with food without sacrificing your goals as a competitor because you deserve to have successful preps, productive improvement seasons, and peace of mind year round. I decided to create a free 8-day food relationship coaching series a few years back that over 800 over 800 people have gone through. Because when your head is cluttered with thoughts of food, eating, guilt, you have a lot less energy to invest into the goals that you truly care about. So, this free program was designed to help athletes like yourself develop a healthy relationship with food so you can have your most fulfilling and effective preps, improvement seasons, and lifestyle phases as well. This is an 8-day series that has a video every single day, a full workbook to guide you through every single video, and you can respond to the emails with the work you did and receive direct support and guidance from me personally, which is, of course, something I love to provide to the community. So you're not only going to discover your ideal relationship with food, but you'll also identify detrimental thought and behavior patterns. You'll overcome guilt and shame, so every decision can be made with intention and pride. We will use expectations and reinforcements to seamlessly manipulate your behavior around food to be more positive and aligned with that ideal relationship with food. We'll figure out why you're really craving what you are when you're sleep deep in another jar of peanut butter, or justifying that next cookie, or continuously eating endless bags of rice cakes, whatever it is for you. We'll become crystal clear on why you act, think, and live the way you do, so you can, of course, act, think, and live the way you want to. And we'll come up with some personal commitments that are rooted in positive psychology based on your current season. So, this is a psychoeducational course. It is free to anyone and everyone. You can access it at www.celestial.fit/food series and learn more about it, as well as even get a sneak peek into the accessible PDF notebook with the extra resources and guidance through every single workshop along the way. if you do decide to participate in it and you love it, of course, I encourage you to share it with a friend or a teammate or another athlete who may be struggling. Or if you hear about someone's struggle, let them know that this exists. That's so beautiful. Oh, I love that. And yeah, you do deserve that. And I think that being a woman who receives that level of care, compassion, genuine love, when that's what you're giving as well, and that's something that you deserve, it's like, oh, well, of course I want to marry that person. That's, you're like, I don't want, I'm not letting you go now. You're stuck with me. That's so cool. And I'm so happy for you. Do you guys want to have a wedding soon, or are y'all planning something far out?
We're planning, so I'm allowing some time. We haven't set a date yet, but it's not gonna be quick because I want to plan it right. I mean, I've never been married before, so I
Yeah.
even though in society, you think that you should have been married by now, but I want to
Mhm.
do it the way I want to do it, and I don't want to rush it, and that's what we're doing.
Love it. Yeah, you deserve that. And who cares what everybody
I
thinks
know.
or says? Yeah, like it's the best timing is God's timing. And
Exactly.
sounds like that's how it worked out. And now you get to grow in your career as a pro and as a project manager, and you get to plan a wedding. Now, how have you managed all this? Like just in general, relationship, competing, work, what maybe time management tools have helped you or boundaries have helped you to satisfy those goals?
Yeah, as far as time management tools go, like I've tried the planners, like where you write it down,
Hmm.
schedule like the day to the minute, the paper ones and the electronic ones. I may stick to that for like a week or two, and then maybe I'll fall off and maybe I'll come back to it. But for the long term, I can't stick to it. I mean, it's good, it works, but for me, I just can't stick to it. So, the biggest thing for me for time management is just sticking to a consistent schedule. Like if I'm going to the gym in the morning, then I'm sticking to that schedule and doing my gym in the morning. Now, every now and again, you may have to switch up, but for the most part, keeping my schedule consistent has helped me with time management.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
there was a second part to that question.
Oh, well, it was, yeah, how you did this with all of the different areas of life. Yeah. And maybe if there were any boundaries you've had to set too.
Um, in the beginning, I used to set so many boundaries. Like people would invite me out, and I'm like, nope, I'm on prep. I can't do it. And um, I think it happened in my 2023 prep when I was trying to go pro. I decided that I don't want to live my life like that because I'm missing out on friends and family, and life is too short. So I'll just prepare ahead of time so that, when people do ask me out, I'll make sure that whatever I need to do to stick to my plan, I have all of that stuff set up ahead of time, and then so that I can go out and I'm not always telling people, no, 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 I can't do it because I'm on prep.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I had to not set up boundaries, but take some of my boundaries down.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I think prep is already so when you're doing it, you're going to the gym, you're doing your meals, it's already so focused on how you're taking care of yourself that it's important to be able to do that while also feeding into your social and emotional needs and the family and the friendships. Like if we get to the end of a show day and we've got no one we're walking off the stage to because we denied any possibility for connection, that was a difficult day.
Mhm. Exactly. Not exactly how I felt.
Yeah, so good for you. Now, how has it been to go from running your own personal training business to going to the corporate world?
Well, and I've always been in the corporate world. I
Okay.
started the personal training business. Like I said, obviously when I still had a job because I had to still have income.
Yeah.
um, but it's I felt led to do it by God. I just kept hearing him tell me that I should pursue it. So I just decided to get a certification. I got the NASM certification. And then I signed up for this boot camp where they train you pretty much from start to finish how to set up your own personal training business, how to set up all of the website and anything that's needed to run a business online, because that's what it was going to be. I wasn't going to be like training people in person. So I did that, and then I launched the business and I was doing all of the things. It was a lot of, we were taught a lot of heavy social media posting and engagement and interaction. And that was tough for me because I wanna post whenever I feel like posting, not just because we were told to, you gotta post, like, every day, you gotta be doing lives and just so that you can get that engagement, especially because of how the algorithm and stuff is, you gotta get out there and be seen. So I was doing that, and then, after I ended up gaining one client in the process, and then just a lot of engagement from people who would reach out wanting to know more, but people would just not sign up. So it became more of a burden for me to paying all the fees to keep the business running and not having the income to support that. So I decided I would just dissolve it for the moment and then maybe later come back to it, because I still have a strong desire to do it. I just felt like maybe it just wasn't the right time for me. So it's still in the back of my head and I hope to pursue it again one day, but right now I'm focusing on my career and you know
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that because there's a lot of people who've probably had that same experience as you, wanting to start and launch their business, but maybe coming up against some resistance or not making the sales they want to make, and knowing it's okay to put it aside for a little bit, or it's okay to pursue other things in that process. Now, what kind of project management do you do? Like, what's the industry you're in?
I work for Blue Cross Blue Shield, so
Okay.
I'm IT project manager. But it's in the company I work for is insurance. However, IT project management.
That's awesome. Very cool. And obviously, you've got this desire to grow in your career, which is exciting. And you have this desire to grow in every area of life, and it's happening for you. So, is there anything that I didn't ask you about, whether it's your journey or your experiences that you wish that I would have?
I think you covered everything. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, well, then I'll get your best advice. So, what is your best advice for somebody who has never competed before but wants to? And then your best advice for someone who's on their road to pro?
Never competed. So I would say, and I think I mentioned this previously, or kind of sort of, do your research and don't be afraid to ask questions. Like even though like in the beginning you're pretty much following somebody because you're new to it, but don't be afraid to ask questions because you need to know and it only helps improve you. So just remember that as a new competitor. Um and let's see, road if somebody's on their road to pro, I would say one thing that well, maybe not regret, but we'll label it that way. um, is I did wow, I did a lot of shows, but I feel like I wasn't going to big shows that were like more competitive. And I kind of wish I would have, because then I would have put myself up against other girls to see how good I could do and maybe even improve myself even more. Because if you're going to shows and you're always winning, what is there to improve? But I mean, you're going to get feedback. You always can improve. But if you're not up against others, seeing how they look, to you can't um improve at your best, because now that I'm doing pro shows and I'm up against more competition, I'm looking at them like, oh, okay, I see how that they compared us, and maybe that's something I can improve. And I feel like if I would have done more larger shows, that I would have seen that back then when I was on the road to pro. So
That's
don't be
great
afraid to
advice.
do competitive shows.
That's such good advice because you're right. Like if you only do like small local or small regional shows and you don't get to do like a big one where maybe your class is going to have more than 15
Right.
or around like a similar number to maybe what you'd see at a national show, it's going to be like a shock when you get to one.
Exactly. That's exactly what I feel.
So that being said, how can people connect with you, follow you, and find you in your journey?
I'm on Instagram. My tag is CI_P, very easy to find, or you can probably just search by my name, Cicely Phillips. And same on Facebook, you can search Cicely Phillips. So hit me up. I love to give advice. People ask, fitness and
Yeah.
nutrition. Even though I'm not doing a business anymore, I still help people just regardless.
Love that. Well, we'll put that in the show notes page. So you guys, as always, on celestial.fit/podcast. If you're listening right away, it'll be at the top of the page. If you're listening in the future, scroll down to the category section where it is alphabetized. And not only will you find how you can connect with us, but you're also going to see a full episode summary, a bulleted list of the topics we covered, and episode timestamps. So you could go back, listen to your favorite parts, let us know what you enjoyed most, or tag us as you listen and share it with your friends, your family, your teammates. Let them know what resonated with you. And of course, it goes such a long way for the podcast and for the athletes when you do this or when you leave a rating and review. So thank y'all in advance for that and for your support on an ongoing basis. And with all that being said, I hope y'all have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world while you're listening to this episode. Just make it awesome.